The Great River Shakespeare Festival is running now through July 31st, featuring Twelfth Night, and the African Company presents Richard III and more at Minnesota's premier Shakespeare Festival in Winona, Minnesota. Buy tickets online at grsf.org. Great River, great drama. Get outside in Pepin County. Pack up the family and visit the childhood home of Laura Ingalls Wilder. Sail on Lake Pepin, bike the Chippewa River State Trail, hike up Maiden Rock, and throw a line in a trout stream. Sign up to win a vacation at visitpepincounty.com. We connect with the folks of the Onalaska Art Keepers. We talk about the origins of the group, programming, how can people get involved, upcoming events, and where you can find out more. You can find more conversations, food reviews, live music, and events on our website, lacrosselocal.com. I'm Amy.
And I'm Brent.
And this is Lacrosse Local.
My name is Joyce Dively. I was born in Aurora, Illinois, a suburb of Chicago, and moved here a long, long time ago, and have always been into the arts. I paint, I do pottery, I do all kinds of things. And also for 35 years did architectural design. Yeah, I guess that's it. That's that story.
My name is Dan Stevens. Originally, I'm from Madison. I've lived here since 2007. I'm really not an artist. I'm kind of more of the organizational guy. So keeping the thing, trying to move along.
You know, I've seen a few posts about it. I've also seen stories about it. What is the Onalaska Art Keepers? What is it all about?
So the Onalaska Art Keepers is really kind of evolved. It really formed, if you go down Highway 35, you'll see the large sculpture, which is called Nature's Backyard. And Joyce could probably talk a lot more in detail about it, since she was one of the, I think Joyce and Linda Lickey were really the driving force behind making that happen. There were other people. I mean, I helped out a little fundraising too, but the Onalaska Art Keepers didn't exist back then. But at the time, Mayor Chilson was like, hey, this is pretty cool. We've got, people in our community that's making stuff happen. So then he formed the Onalaska Arts Commission, which was actually part of City Hall at that point. The commission had Joyce was on it, Linda Lickey, Deb Carlson, Danny McAllister. I actually wasn't on at the beginning, but that later came on. And it was really problematic. We couldn't do anything within the confines of the city government. If we raised money, you'd have to have council approve it to spend it. You couldn't do anything if it was on the agenda. And it was just really burdensome as an organization. So it was a great idea, but it just wasn't the right model. So after about a year, we decided we wanted to kind of go our own way and have some flexibility and decide what we wanted to do and when we wanted to do it. So we voted to disband, and then we started working on Onalaska Art Keepers. So it really was a process to even get to the starting point, but it took time and effort and a lot of planning, but we made it happen. So, and Joyce was a big part of that. She was from the beginning at that sculpture, which was really the core of kind of what brought people together.
Like the sculpture, that was the initial start. Is there other programs you offer with it? Just looking at your social media, like Pop Up Onalaska, you have the sculpture component. Is there anything you're kind of developing now a little bit more after coming out of COVID and things like that?
Oh, we got plans.
We got lots.
The sculpture is done. I mean, that's in the books.
I could talk about a couple like Pop Up Onalaska came about last year because, everybody was coming off of COVID. We thought we need something fun that would be enlightening. And so we solicited, we had 13 adult artists and 25 student artists. We bought them canvases, provided paints, and they all painted this great artwork. We found 36 sponsors, and artwork went up all over the city. And then Dan had an idea to create it as a treasure hunt. So we had a brochure printed up that went into Explore La Crosse and was available at the Great River Landing and at all the businesses. So it gave the artists an opportunity to get their art out. It gave our sponsors an opportunity to have their business found. And we just had great response on that. And then we decided we would have to have an after party, and we can talk about that a little bit later. But the after party became Pumpkin in a Pint, and that we did in October. But back to, projects that we're actually working on right now, I would say the pop-up, we're doing that again this year. We're up to 42 sponsors, and we'll do the Pumpkin in a Pint, but that'll start right after Memorial Day. Then we're also working on, when we did the sculpture, there was a lady named Judy Kirkpatrick from La Crosse who wrote a song about the sculpture and about Onalaska. And we wanted to preserve the song. So right now we are making a big ceramic plaque that has the words of the song. Then there's going to be a stained glass frame that's made by a local artist. And it will go on to the Great River Landing, not far from the sculpture. And there will be a small sound box that you'll be able to press a button. You'll hear a little story about Onalaska and the song will be sung. And then the song will play again. You'll get to be able to sing along with the words on the plaque. Kind of an art piece, and it's kind of an interactive piece. And yeah, so that's probably where we are right now. And then anything else, Dan?
If I can add on to that, it's great having somebody as tenacious as Joyce as, a driving force on your board. That song is done to the tune of Country Road by John Denver. And so Joyce tracked down the people that had the rights and, explained what we were doing. And normally they just don't say this is okay. But John Denver was, he was very supportive of the arts. This isn't a for-profit thing. This community, we think that he'd really love it. So Joyce single-handedly got, the rights to John Denver's song for this.
Wasn't an easy task.
Nice.
And that's really cool. I think that, people can go and sing along and sing about Onalaska.
And everybody knows that song, knows the melody. So yeah, that made it easy.
Go ahead and sing, Joyce.
No, that's okay.
Just talking to the both of you, it sounds like, you have artists involved, you have art enthusiasts involved. How can people jump in or help out? Is there different ways they could participate?
Yeah. So we recently had our first annual meeting as a 501c3. You have to have those. And I'd say like 2/3 of the people that are members of Oak are, like myself, really just not that artistic. I mean, there's people that we have that are very talented. Joyce does great work. Danny does some interesting stuff, but there's a lot of people that just want to help out. There's ways that they can volunteer. They can be part of the organization. We just had a slew of committees, a mural committee. I think we're looking to have a scholarship committee. The regular events like Pop-Up and Pumpkin and a Pint, we need people to get involved and make those happen. And if you have artistic talent, we can put you to work. And if you don't, we can still put you to work. And it's all for the same cause.
Kind of mentioned, a little of your projects that are coming up with a new song, and Pop-Up Onalaska. What are you excited for? Is there something big that you're trying to get to with this organization?
I will say that we also just recently formed a mural committee, and we're looking into possible areas where we could do a large mural. It might be something historic. It might not. We're not really sure yet. We're still investigating all of the possibilities. One thing also that Dan did not mention is we can always use fundraising people, people who want to raise funds to do projects because nothing comes for free. We have been extremely lucky with the pop-up that our sponsors have been great and stepping up and making sure that this happens. So hopefully Pumpkin and a Pint will be the same way. And Dan, maybe you can kind of talk a little bit about Pumpkin and a Pint and what exactly goes on there.
Maybe to add off that last point, though, is the Art Keepers, our mission is not, we want to do big things. We want to do kind of permanent things, but there's also little smaller projects that we're going to do along the way. So a big project like that sculpture, that took years to make that happen. Pop-Up and Pumpkin and a Pint are kind of those mid-sized, but there's even little projects that we kind of have in the mix that are coming down the line. So our mission really is, we just want to promote the arts and its appreciation in Onalaska. In our organization, we kind of wedged ourselves as where we're kind of that liaison between artists and local government and the schools and businesses and community organizations. And we just want to continue to make that thrive. And communities with a strong art culture, they tend to do better. Value of the property is more. People want to live there, and it's a more vibrant place where people can, live and hang out and play. So our method for doing that is it's kind of our own, but it's small, big, and medium-sized projects. So we always got something going on.
One thing, Dan, I think that is a really important word too in all of this is that we want it to be fun. We have, I know,
not controversial.
A lot of art can be very controversial. We have all agreed we're going to try to steer away from anything like that because there's enough controversy in the world through our art becoming controversial. So whatever happens through Onalaska Art Keepers, hopefully will be fun and uplifting. And that's really how the pop-up started, was for something fun for the community that everybody could like drive around and see these fun paintings and see what the kids did and what the artists did. And it was just a fun thing to do. So we're trying to do things that are kind of fun and enlighten the community and not anything terribly controversial or, things that would make people feel badly or upset or, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So
we're not trying to agitate, but
No.
there's always going to be people that, I mean, we've had some complaints on some of the stuff that we've done, but that's
minimal.
we're really looking at what, by and large, 99% of the public would just find enjoyable. It was interesting when we had with the pop-up. I mean, really, it was kind of, Joyce wanted a fast start, and when she said we got the sponsors, I mean, she found the artists, she got all the sponsors, and but it really kind of
Luann Roth had a lot to do with that. Yeah,
it really kind of evolved because it was just its own event by itself. Joyce was like, we want to add a splash of color to Onalaska. It'd be a fun post-COVID thing to do, and then we're like, hey, we could make this interactive, and that's when the scavenger hunt came, and we're like, now we're driving people to different businesses, and they're having, I mean, they may not actually go into Place Insurance and buy insurance there, but now they know where that business is, and they know that they support the community. And the next time they're looking for a quote, I mean, you can bet that company is going to be a little further up on the list. So the value for the sponsors was, at first, they're just kind of helping out a local organization, and now they're like, this year we kind of ran out of, we can't take any more sponsors. So the feedback was really, really good. And then it's like, what are we going to do with all this art? And then we got the idea to, hey, we could tie it into Pumpkin and a Pint, and let's have this like art auction. And the art auction was really, really popular. And then we wanted to support some of the sponsors again. So some of the prizes that we got were from the sponsors. So, it was a gift card to David Ray's and Mary Cody's and Culver's and Senior Via. And somebody just got like a larger cash prize. And I mean, it was really cool. So we had all these separate events that individually could stand alone. And, we kind of seamed them all together, and it just grew.
And, I will say the other thing that was kind of neat about the pop-up and really Pumpkin and a Pint is that even young student artists were really honored by not just their school or in their classroom, but by a huge group of people that were all there bidding on their artwork. Many of the paintings went for well over $100, and I'm sure these kids were very touched by that, and their artwork was out in the community. I know there was a little girl had a painting at the Cooley Bank, and she had done a painting of the bluffs and the river and a rainbow, and they interviewed her, and it was just so touching because she said, this is where I live and this is what I love, the bluffs and the river. And she went into this whole thing about her artistic expression. Kids don't usually get to do that kind of stuff, especially me growing up as a non-sporty kid. There isn't a whole lot left other than artwork and, stuff like that. Yeah, I think it's opened a new avenue for some kids that, maybe wouldn't have another way to do that other than directly in the classroom in their school.
It sounds like you're touching on just a variety of different programming, from the sculpture that started it to Pop Up Onalaska to your various fundraisers. We're about that too, is trying to interview early artists, early musicians, and try to give people a voice in the area. If people want to find out more or get involved with the organization, what's the best avenue to go to?
We will soon unveil a website that's in the works. It's kind of under construction. Most of what we've done has been on Facebook, and I think we're even adding an Instagram, which
we do have Instagram. Yeah.
If you're my generation, I'll have to figure out how to use Instagram. But
just pretty pictures, so should be able to kill it.
One thing, it is called Onalaska Art Keepers, and the short for that is Oak. So we thought that was kind of a clever way to, get people to remember Oak. And then you can just go into Onalaska Art Keepers on Facebook, and you can send emails, messages, whatever. We have ugly jobs. We got pretty jobs. We got all kinds of things that people can get involved in. It's going to be a fun summer.
And we have some other stuff coming up, other projects that were kind of in the mix. Joyce wants to do this bottle cap art project.
Yeah, we'd like to do something like that soon.
Decorate some benches. My wife is planning on doing a Shakespeare in the Park, which is outside of the normal physical art. It's more dramatic. This summer, we're going to try to do Much Ado About Nothing. We have our pumpkin tree that we put up with Arthur S. Crosby gone, who's, I don't know, maybe kind of become a mascot, but that's pretty cool. And There's a lot of little projects that coming down the chute. We're not lacking for ideas. It's just the people and
No.
the manpower to make them happen.
It's the manpower, yes. Do note Pumpkin and a Pint is October 8th at Dash Park. For $10, you get to bring your kids, paint a pumpkin, have a beer. They get a root beer. It's kind of a fun time. We'll have music and all that good stuff. So
Lacrosse Local Podcast is a production of River Travel Media. Do you have an interview idea you'd like to share with us? Message us on Facebook at Lacrosse Local. Find out more about us at lacrosselocal.com, and you can subscribe to the Lacrosse Local Podcast on your favorite podcast app. If you like us, rate us 5 stars. We appreciate it.